If you have ever uttered the sentence, "I suck at sales," then this video is for you. And I'm so happy you're here because I remember what that feels like. I have felt like that before too. But with nearly a decade of entrepreneurship under my belt and selling to thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the years, I have learned that you don't have to be good at sales to sell and sell well and to have it feel aligned, authentic, and not yucky and gross. So that's what I want to talk about in this video. And I actually would argue and say that if you have to pull out some ninja sales strategy to sell something to someone, maybe that thing isn't very sellable in the first place. So the thing to know is that the ebb and flow of sales really comes down to quality and quantity. And when both are in perfect harmony, it is a wonderful, perfect, beautiful picture. But that doesn't always happen. So here's the thing. You could have a ton of people who want to work with you and buy what you have to sell, but if those folks aren't the right people and your perfect ideal client, then it doesn't really make a difference. And it doesn't mean that you're going to sell any more or any better. So in this video, we're gonna get into the 3 secrets to sell your course, even if you suck at sales. And those 3 secrets are, is it Googleable or profitable? Number 2, it's not a you problem, it's a quality problem. And number 3, consistent leads and building a pipeline. This is the place to be to create a peaceful, purposeful, and profitable online education business where I help you take your unique genius and turn it into a high impact online course. And if you're serious about that and that's something you really want to do, there's actually a link below this video in the description to apply to speak to a real person on my team to see how we can best support you in making that a reality. We are super intentional about who we support and who we work with, so make sure that you fill out the application with as much detail as possible to make sure that we have the information we need to ensure that this is aligned. Okay, let's get into these 3 secrets. Number 1, is your course Googleable or profitable? So this is something I talk about often with my clients, and it's a really good litmus test to know whether or not your program is even sellable. Because if it's not selling, you may need to go back to the foundation of the business. The metaphor that I always use is if you don't build a strong foundation with your business, you don't do your due diligence, you don't do the proper research, you don't validate before you sell, which I just made a whole video on, and you can check that out here in the description below, then you are not built to sell or scale. So I'm gonna give you an example from a real client that I work with. He is in the dog training space. Now, if you went into Google and you searched dog training, holy smoke-a-doodles, there are a lot of options. There are over 1 billion results that come up for just dog training. So what does that mean? That is a very competitive space, and it's a very broad surface level space. What kind of dog are you needing to train? What kind of training do you need done? What is the problem? So in order to make a program sellable, you have to identify essentially your unique angle and unique experience and genius in that category. That allows you to create your own market demand and to honestly eliminate the competition. So when I spoke to this client, we had to identify, okay, well, what's gonna make this actually profitable and sellable? And so we dug into his experience, and he has a ton of experience in working with dogs and their owners. And what he realized was the biggest pain point for his clients who had the best results was there was often aggression associated with the bad behavior. So it was aggressive dogs that were not trainable with treats, which is often the method that's used. And because of this, their owners were at a place where they literally couldn't leave the house. They couldn't go for a walk. They were scared their dog's going to attack or already had attacked a person or another animal. And it was creating a nightmare for them within their home. And the whole reason of getting the dog to create companionship and this really healthy, loving relationship was completely out the window. So when we went from Googleable, which is just anybody can find the information for free on the internet, there are a bunch of vlogs about it, there are a bunch of surface level articles about it, it's a super broad category, and what do I always say? Broad equals broke, specific equals sales. When we went from that to specific, the sales started to happen. And he actually shared, I wanted to share Wednesday. My goal has been to have a minimum of 2 sales per month, and I have already reached it this month, and the month has just started. I finished my program and planning to remove all other online courses as well to have just one program for one specific client in their one specific place on their journey and one specific desired outcome. So what are those 3 factors he just mentioned? So that is a key part of our strategy when we work with clients in our Authority Accelerator program in order to create a profitable program, and not just a program that there's a bunch of information for for free on the internet out there and nobody's going to pay for, you have to identify 3 key factors. And those factors are one specific ideal client at one specific place on their journey, seeking one specific transformation. So in this case, the client is a dog owner who has a dog who is not trainable with treats. The specific place on the journey is they have reached a point where they literally cannot leave the house with their dog because the dog has become aggressive and is so poorly behaved that it's erratic and has either attacked somebody already or they're scared is going to attack somebody. And they're at the place where they don't know what to do with the dog and it's creating chaos in their home. So there's a ton of pain there. And then the final piece is the desired outcome, to create a healthy, happy home environment with their dog and to be able to go for walks and enjoy the benefits of having a dog without the stress of the bad behavior. Now, the key to this is that when you're identifying these 3 factors for your ideal client, there has to be 2 factors in order to create a program that is sellable and profitable: pain and urgency. If there's no pain and there's no urgency, there is no profit, ultimately. And there is no client, ultimately. And you have to think about it from the perspective of if you go to the doctor. Most of the time, you're not going to the doctor proactively. You're generally going to the doctor because you are so sick, you've got a super sore throat, or you're nauseous, or whatever may be happening for you. And you just want that to be fixed. So when you go to the doctor and you're looking for a prescription, you have to be in pain and it needs to be urgent that you want to find a solution. The same goes for when you're serving clients, and that creates clients that do the work, get results, and create a massive impact from your program. And when it comes to building the foundation of your business, there's a lot that needs to go into place before you can have that strong foundation and to actually create consistent sales. So you want to look at the business from these components and ensure that you have them all set up and the messaging is super clear. So it starts with your offer. Do you have a clear offer and do you have a client that you can sell that offer to that is hyper clear with those 3 factors? And from there, you create messaging that it actually attracts those clients and generates leads next. And from those leads, you're going to generate sales. And from sales and having financial flow in the business, that's going to allow you to build out a team and true operations to be able to scale and remove yourself from the business so that you can focus only on what's in your genius zone and creating the biggest impact and serving at the highest level. And I wanted to share one example of this. Katie, who's a client of mine, and she's a holistic veterinarian. I'm in the pet space right now for some reason. 2 examples of a pet-related client, but she has done an incredible job, and I talked to her recently, and she said, I am a veterinarian. I'm not a salesperson, yet by implementing this and speaking to the right people and doing her research and really understanding what was going to make her program unique on the marketplace, she was able to go from 0 to several $100,000 in sales, over $200,000 in sales in the first year with her online program. You can check out her case study at the link below in the description. Number 2, it's not a you problem, it's a quality problem. So one of the biggest reasons that people feel like they're horrible at sales is because they're simply speaking to the wrong people. So now you have full context of who you need to be speaking to in the sense that they need to be an exact match for all 3 factors, because if they're only a match for one, they're not going to be at the right place where there's any level of urgency or pain for them to actually work with you. And what happens when you speak to the wrong clients is you end up getting nightmare clients, and it's not their fault. It's that you may have just chosen the wrong person to enroll into your program. What that does is, 1, they're either going to not buy, and then that makes you feel like you're horrible at sales, but it's just the wrong person, or they do end up enrolling and the program doesn't work for them, which leads to bad testimonials, it leads to a lack of social proof, and it leads to you feeling like your program is terrible in addition to you being terrible at sales. So the true way to convert people is to ensure that you reverse engineer how you're attracting folks. So you might have people reaching out to you, you might have DMs, you might have people booking on your calendar to work with you, but how are you qualifying them? How are you ensuring that they're the right fit? So one simple way to do this, and a secret to creating high conversions, is ensuring that you're qualifying before you're speaking to people. So creating an application or a survey before you enroll somebody into your program is really important to ensure that they are the right clients and that you're only speaking to folks that you actually have a chance at enrolling because they truly do need what you have, and you can identify that clearly so it makes sense to invite them in to your program to get the result that they're seeking. And if you reverse engineer that even a step further, in order for people to fill out that application, you need to have traffic. So you need to consider, where is the traffic coming from? How are you generating leads? Now, there are so many ways to do this, and you can absolutely create a program and sell it from zero with no audience. And I have a whole video on that. So make sure that you do check that out. I'll put the link in the description to that video as well. But just consider that the way that you are positioning your program and marketing it or creating messaging around it matters. Because if you're creating messaging for a broad general audience, it's going to attract the wrong people, which is going to lead to, you guessed it, not converting into clients, which is going to make you feel like you suck at sales, but that's not true. You just haven't done the right steps in the right order to get the right people to speak to. So I want you to comment below right now and tell me, what are the characteristics of your ideal client? Who do you want to attract? By starting to write that out and sharing that, you're gonna start attracting those people and being super intentional with your messaging and your marketing. Number 3, consistent leads and building a pipeline. Now, if you don't have any volume at all, you don't have any leads coming through, what does that do? It breaks the whole system, as I mentioned earlier, because leads generate sales. So in order to generate leads, and also create a consistent, what we call pipeline. And what that means is, just because somebody doesn't purchase from you or enroll with you the first time they speak with you does not mean that they won't ever. We like to refer to this as delayed, but not denied. And oftentimes, if somebody's not at the right place on their journey, we'll actually say, no, right now is not the right fit for you, but let's discuss and meet up again in a month or 2 months or 6 months or whatever. The amount of folks that come back to us after 2 years, 3 years of watching my videos and finding me and getting value from what I'm sharing is incredible. So there are people out there that you're creating touch points with, and there are people out there that maybe you've already spoken to. Don't forget about them if they don't enroll. And that allows you to create a pipeline that you can rely on as you grow your business, and not just have to bring in new leads all the time and not have to generate more and more and more traffic. Because as I've explained in other videos, you don't need a ton of leads to reach your financial goals. Oftentimes it's a lot smaller than what you might think. And I break down that whole financial equation in this video where I talk about the 2023 business plan. So I do recommend definitely checking that out and creating your equation to know how many leads you're going to need in the next year to hit your financial goals and attract the right clients into your program. So having consistent leads doesn't just mean you have to constantly be marketing and pushing and sharing what you do. It also means that anyone you speak to who is a good fit and matches those 3 factors, you actually create consistency by keeping in contact with them, nurturing them, sharing valuable content with them, not forgetting about them. Because you know how many companies and businesses out there talk to somebody, they don't buy, and they go, okay, see you later. Bye, we're done with you, and they never think about them again. It's a huge differentiating factor to focus on quality and to continue to nurture folks and to create that pipeline of humans that you know you can have an impact on. They just maybe weren't ready right now, or maybe they're not a right fit for you and you said no right now. It does not mean that they won't come back around. So a key to creating consistency in sales is to build out a pipeline. And to do so, you can just simply set up an Excel spreadsheet with their name and their contact information. That's really all you need. From there, like I said, it absolutely helps you when you're creating any sort of content and you do choose to market what you do to have it be hyper targeted to your 3 factors. So there's really 2 ways of marketing a program. You can have on demand or you can have evergreen. So evergreen is all about YouTube, and I recently made 2 videos that are really valuable when it comes to marketing an online program on YouTube. So those are also linked below. And then on demand. On demand is platforms where it's more of an instant reaction. So things like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, etc. So having a mix of both is important. And I believe in testing on demand first and then moving to evergreen, because evergreen is a commitment and it generally takes a little more time, but it pays off in the long run by sending you traffic consistently without having to do the work of constantly pushing and posting like is required when it comes to other on-demand platforms. But the most important factor is wherever you are choosing to market, wherever your audience is, wherever you have the most engagement, ensuring that you're not going broad with your messaging and you're going super, super targeted to who you actually know is your ideal client, so you get the right people to speak to who are actually going to convert. So one little thing that I want you to take from this video, and I'd love to hear in the comments below what your takeaways were, and if you had a light bulb moment and you realize you don't suck at sales. And if you realize that, please put "I don't suck at sales" in the comments below. I want you to understand that if you talk to anyone who feels like a really perfect fit and a match for your 3 factors, nurture them, value them, schedule a reminder to reach back out to them. That matters. That creates consistency, and that takes the pressure off of you to constantly be chasing new leads and hustling and all of that stuff that may not be benefiting the business. Relationships lead to revenue. Focus on building quality relationships with the right folks to get into your program who you can have the biggest impact on. Give me a heck yes in the comments if that made sense. And this is really just, one piece of the puzzle. If you want to really take your unique genius and have an impact on the folks that need you the most, be sure to fill out that application as thoroughly as possible at the link in the description below to speak to a real human on my team so we can identify if this is the right time for you and the best strategy moving forward, and see if you're a fit to work together inside of our program, the Authority Accelerator. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I definitely want you to watch the video on how to validate your course topic before you sell it, because that's going to help you create that profitable topic and not just a Googleable topic. So check that out next, and I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with somebody who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.